Okay, we talked about 223 and we talked about 222. Let's talk about the military brother to those two cartridges, the 5.56 NATO. The big difference between the 5.56 NATO and the 223, the 5.56 NATO runs a little bit higher pressure, all right, and the chambers are cut different. The 5.56 chamber has wider, longer freebore area. So if you try to shoot 223 Remington ammunition in a 5.56, you're not going to see the same accuracy that you would if you used 5.56 ammunition, but it will function just fine. Also understand that because 223 is insanely popular, there is a large number of 223 caliber bullets and load data that you can cook up for the 5.56. So we're just going to stick to the military ones on this. But understand too, make sure your load matches the mission drives the gear train. Y'all have all heard me say that before. Mission drives gear train. Make absolutely certain the length of your bullet matches the twist rate of your barrel. All right. These small cartridges, they don't like not being stabilized and they don't like being over stabilized. So that's a very big deal. But you can pretty much load a 5.56 to take anything you want up to and slightly bigger than the size of a man. I mean, it's a very effective cartridge. NATO has been proving it time and time again, its effectiveness on the battlefield. So as long as you stay man weight or under, then the 5.56 wouldn't make a bad hunting cartridge. Again, just make sure your projectile is tailored to your game. Like, you wouldn't necessarily want to go hunt deer with green tip, right? And you certainly wouldn't want to go hunt deer with black tip. Number one, you wouldn't get that great of a wound channel, and number two, green jeans would not be happy with you. If he or she were to catch up to you. So talking about the military loadings, the original one was the M193, 55 grain, boat tail full metal jacket, about 3 1/4. All right, 3,250 feet per second or so. That was replaced in the 80s by the Belgian SS-109 round that we call the M855 and identify with a green tip. It's a 62 grain bullet at 3110. All right, at 31 thereabouts, right, somewhere around 3100 range. The M855A1, replace that. It's going to be about 31 and a half. Also 62 grain bullet. Somewhere in the middle, really popular with the Marine Corps and Naval Forces and certain soft units, was the Mark 318. That's an interesting bullet. It's an open tip match bullet with a rear penetrator. That's a very, very interesting load. If you can get your hands on some of it, you definitely should. You can do a lot with that round. My personal favorite in the 5.56 is the Mark 262. It's a 77 grain Sierra Match King open tip match bullets loaded by Black Hills. 77 grain bullet at 2 3/4 or so, 2750. Very effective. That long narrow bullet, it has to have a 1 in 7 twist, 1 in 8 at the least to stabilize it. But that is a very, very effective round in soft tissue. And you know what? The 5.56, it's a great fighting cartridge, and for small stuff, it's not a bad hunting cartridge either if you load it right.